Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I talk about Avengers and X-Men and what happens when they versus. How you doing, Gary?
Mm-hmm. For the last time.
For the last time. Somebody added us on Twitter, and it seems like there might be another, one of these in the making.
Oh, they're going to fight again, are they?
Yeah, I'll have to go look up at what the tweet said exactly, but it looked like there was these people are going to probably get into it again.
It makes sense for them to fight, given that now the X-Men just control an island and have their own language and can teleport around and cure all the world's diseases and all the stuff they can do now.
Mm-hmm.
They're still not doing anything bad, but there's something more threatening about Krakoa to me than we're just going to call it, solve famine. Previous, but I got to catch up on that stuff. Yeah. I'm doing okay. Good. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I had to travel away from my precious Elden Ring for 4 days, and
Elden Ring.
my precious. And I did not get tired of it. I thought maybe I'm going to come back and it's just going to be a normal video game. And no, I came back and I was like, oh, this is my job. I need to keep playing this. This is my job now. This is all I want to do. So
it feels good.
It does,
man.
It feels fucking great.
It has been a very long time since I've been this into a video game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all my friends are into it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just you and Cole and my internet friends, but also my game group friends and stuff. Got all of them to play it. So I got multiple text threads going on talking about stuff.
It's the best, dude. It's the best. I have I've sheltered myself from the general internet just on. I don't really talk about it a lot on Twitter, and I don't, I'm not hanging out on the Something Awful thread like I used to for these games, or, hell, there's probably still an IRC hanging around for those guys. But I've got two little small groups and a handful of, text threads like you mentioned, and I'm having the best time with just sending, what the fuck is this kind of stuff to people, and they may know or may not know. It's great. It's so good.
It's a great time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
These are pretty good comics as well. I understand this is a comics podcast now. Everything is Elden Ring. Yeah, we're doing... Man, can you imagine an Elden Ring comic?
Oh my God, they're probably...
X-Men versus Elden Ring?
X-Men versus Elden Ring. Elden Ring wins, no question.
Yeah.
What are mutant powers anyway but weapon arts, right? They're just weapon ashes that you can assign to any random character. Give Storm claws. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's the... she should be able to respec. X-Men should be able to respec into different builds.
X-Men should be able to respec, absolutely. What do you? I mean,
Respec-Men.
if you're Kitty Pryde, who do you think would be the most excited to respec? Let me change that. Let me change that question. I mean, obviously, the physical deformity group would be very, very eager.
Yeah,
but
Marrow.
I don't know. Maybe Marrow's really attached nowadays, though.
That's true. Maybe Doug Ramsey.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to respec away from the language class, the scholar class.
Mm-hmm. Something a little bit more physical for him on a team that keeps dying because they don't have good fighters.
Because they keep sending him in to get punched by one member of the right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Putting aside the physical deformities, that's my vote.
Yeah, I think it would have to be for me probably. Actually, that's probably a good one. We could just stop there. I think that one's a great one because, everyone else seems pretty legit.
Yeah, everyone else happy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that eye kid. I mean, I guess he's physical deformities, but also that's a weird.
Yeah.
It's a power, but it feels gross to me. And also, you get a lot of stuff in your eyes.
Or maybe Dust. Dust doesn't look like I have a good time being Dust.
No.
There's a lot of real Dust specific villains that you have to create just to have a Dust character.
The Dustbuster.
Yeah.
The Dirt Devil.
Oh my God, it's the Hoover.
Yeah. I gotta read more comics with Dust to see if anyone's ever vacuumed her. Like a Swiffer shows up and destroys her world.
I said, don't make me Google has anyone vacuumed Dust before.
There's a horrible SEO on that.
Oh, terrible.
The history of vacuuming started. Anyway, AVX Consequences 3.
Yes.
This is a good comic. We got to focus.
So this is the follow-up to the mainline AVX stuff, and it's good. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you kind of where everybody... It kind of just basically moves a bunch of pieces around so they can start a bunch of new issues of comic books, a bunch of which I read this week, Gary. I read some of the stuff following this.
Yeah.
Some of it is good.
I was going to ask you about that when we get to the fourth episode.
Yeah, I'll save it.
We're recording.
Well, let's start with AVX3 with the very sad Tony Stark.
Sad Iron Man on the cover. This isn't really what happens to Iron Man in this.
I wish it was.
Yeah, he's it starts off with him hanging out at Kunlun, trying to help them, reconstruct after the Phoenix. And Hamburger Man is just telling him, like, you think that your technology can help everything. It wasn't a solution for the Phoenix. It's not a solution now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is funny dialogue, like, to me. Like, I think Tony Stark makes a good point where he's like, that was understanding the Phoenix. This is putting bricks on top of other bricks.
Yeah.
And Hamburger Man goes, you keep the two so separated in your brain? That's impressive. I don't know. I keep putting a house together with bricks and understanding the Phoenix Force pretty separate.
Like, there's a difference between building a church and going to church. And I think this is I think I could keep those two things as individuals in my mind. Like, a dude can build a church and then not understand going to church to worship God. You know what I'm saying?
Not understand God.
Yeah.
It's said back like a very profound point. And I don't really understand it. I understand what they're trying to do with Tony Stark by making him have the spiritual turn, and I haven't read the comics that come from this and see if they follow up on it, but I don't necessarily think Hamburger Friend is making a great point with that.
Me either. But fortunately, it's short, like most of the little stories in here. So we're going to jump back over to the prison that they're keeping Cyclops in. This is a for-profit prison. It's been very specifically told that to us. And we left on the last issue with them being confronted by some anti-mutant prisoners. And this is just a real good excuse for Scott Summers to show off that, what, like he says here, his training, like he doesn't have to have powers to be dangerous because he just wipes the floor with the fascist.
Yeah, it takes him down. The kid is really impressed.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been a hell of a school. They did that, and he's like, it had its moments. Very, kind of subtly here, while this is happening, Cyclops grabs some dust from like a workshop table.
Yeah,
this is load-bearing dust.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kitty Pryde is visiting Emma Frost in prison just to gloat, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty Pryde has never, ever, ever liked Emma Frost for big deal reasons. And she's never been real comfortable with having Emma on the team. So the one part where Emma breaks bad, Kitty Pryde is right there to shove it in her face.
Yeah, she's been waiting for it for like 12 years.
I knew it was going to happen.
It's been an eternity in comics time.
I know.
Like, so many things have happened. A Messiah complex happened.
Yes.
She didn't break bad during that. But she was here. She's waiting. She's finally ready. Basically, this is just a character scene. Like not a whole lot happens to the plot, just reminding us that they don't like each other and that Emma's in jail.
There is one really confusing piece where they talk about, like, you try to make out like there's a lot of difference to us, but we got so much in common, which feels like a weird thing for Kitty Pryde to say. And then it switches to Emma Frost, and Emma Frost says both our men turned out to be idiots. And I just don't get this, because, like, is it just Iceman or Colossus? Like,
well, it's Colossus and Cyclops is because they were Phoenix people, but then also Emma was one of the Phoenixes.
Yeah,
well.
like, it just doesn't.
It's a pretty confused thing.
Yeah, I don't think they really know what they're going for here. But we cut back over to the prison where Scott is exercising like you do when you're going to get hardcore up in prison, man. You gotta do your push-ups.
Maybe that's what would get me into doing push-ups.
Yeah,
I just had to be more bored.
I've been doing these like little training sessions in the morning, and after a few days from home, I was like really sore, and I hadn't really worked out or anything because I was in a fucking hotel room with my father. And so I got home, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like go hardcore. I'm just gonna do some yoga, and like, here's a 30-minute yoga thing, and then like we do the first 2 exercises. And then she's like, okay, time for push-ups. And I'm like, excuse me? What? This is yoga. This isn't work. You got me. But yeah, he's doing push-ups, and they're kind of having this conversation.
Do they give push-ups a cute name like Downward Merc?
Nope, she just called them push-ups.
Or like, Downward Mercenary.
And then then she said that the Dave Matthews Band song that was playing was her favorite Dave Matthews Band song because it's all from Apple, and Apple has to have this weird obsession with popular music that's really off-putting.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. It was not good.
It's bleak.
I like this stuff, and it's definitely healthy, but like I have to suffer through some playlists that are just god fucking awful. So.
Oh yeah, whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shaming you for exercising. Like I'm glad that I don't have to listen to Dave Matthews
and do push-ups.
What works for me? Yeah, and do push-ups for what works for me.
Yeah, how do you make push-ups worse? Oh, Dave Matthews. Man.
Yeah, I can arrange that. Cyclops and the kid are back in their jail cell. He's like, oh, why don't they put us in solitary? And Cyclops says, I'd keep me safe. Like, that's not what they want. And he starts kind of taking this kid under his wing. Like, Cyclops is still at his nature, a teacher, right? Like, and he did it for the kids. It's like, you have to be careful. That's important now. Like, as a mutant, you have to be careful. And the kids were all happy. Like, he's used to be nothing. Now he has a gift. And this is very inspiring to Scott.
Sure. Because this is this is what he did, right? This is what he supposedly did all of this for, was to create people like this, to create more mutants and to give mutants opportunity. There's this really good line, I think, from during this exchange where the guy asked, like, are the teachers good? And Scott says...
At the school.
Yeah.
Like Scott says, you should go to the school.
Yeah. And he says, are the teachers good? He's like, at what they do, the best, which I think is it's fun. It's clever.
Really cute.
It's good.
But this is all good emotional groundwork for what's going to happen with Cyclops in this series. Mm-hmm. He then takes the dust out of his pocket that he pocketed and draws a little glyph on the floor here, which is pretty cool. We know, magic's about. We cut over to the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. hanging out. Wolverine is talking to Captain America, being like, yeah, Cyclops is up to something. There's more than he's saying.
Yeah.
Captain America says, why can't we just yank it out of his head? And they're basically saying we don't have any psychics. They're all on his side, which again is not true. There's a weird plot hole. Literally, a psychic empath character that they know is standing right there, who shows up later in this scene to do stuff. And like, that's not theirs. That he belongs to S.H.I.E.L.D. He's one of the S.H.I.E.L.D.'s people, but still, like, they could be like, hey, can you do this solid?
Yeah.
Alien horse.
Can you just, try it out for us? Listen to what happens.
Yeah. There are psychics who are in X-Men. This is silly.
Yeah. It's dumb. I don't like it. I also don't like this thing with Captain America, because Wolverine's like, that's, you put him in that 2-bit prison. It's a mistake. He should be somewhere like that's, hemmed up like Frost. And Captain America's like, that's not our call to make. We're not the higher powers in this land. And I'm like, dude, are you or aren't you? Like,
yeah,
I don't remember a trial. Like, what are you doing?
And also, it's not very in character for Captain America to be like, well, there's injustice. Hands are tied.
Can't do anything about it. Yeah. Oh my God, the system is bad. I can't help it. And I'm not going to try to challenge it.
What am I going to do? Yeah. Very silly. So they're talking about, they have a mole, like they have somebody possibly playing both sides. Again, somebody warned Magneto when they went to go take him and stuff. Why can't I remember her name? The lady from S.W.O.R.D. Brand. She's like, kind of implicates Wolverine. Wolverine says, don't you trust mutants? And she's like, I trust mutants. I just don't trust you. And has her alien horse creature make sure Wolverine's telling the truth here. Again, they could use this on Cyclops. They choose not to. He confirms Wolverine's telling the truth, but he says as far as he knows. And we cut over to a great little scene here of Storm in full uniform, like walking back to her room, and Magic on her bed.
Yeah.
Doing the shh motion.
And also just like not standing, but like feet on the bed, doing it like a kneeling pose. Like just the most awkward thing I could possibly imagine. But like, hey, be quiet.
Magic doesn't take off her shoes when she comes in the house.
Never. Ever.
She's evil.
Yeah.
At this point.
That's how you know.
She wears jeans in bed. Yeah.
Yeah. She sleeps in jeans. That's filthy. How you know.
Yeah. Ugh. Pete Davidson shit. She says, oh, you're searching for my brother. Where could he be? This envelope will tell you. You should turn him in. And gives her a little envelope with Cyclops's location.
Colossus location.
her glasses.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. We took turns I think last time we recorded, you were doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
passed it to me.
Yeah, we're just passing the same worm back and forth to each other.
There's only be 26 characters in fiction, one for every letter of the alphabet.
Yeah, I agree.
We should just call him C.
Yeah,
you know?
And then C said, we check in on Hope, who is going to high school and writing a letter to her old team, telling I can't remember that chick's name, Lori, that that she thinks of them as she's going through her high school days. She thinks about what would Lori do? She thinks about she says the names Kenji and Tion and Edie, basically like how they affected her and as when they were on a team together. But she hasn't really stopped thinking about Cable, and at night she's been sneaking out and trying to find him. This eventually leads to her and him teaming up for more X-Force shenanigans, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, later on.
Mm-hmm.
We cut back to the prison. Cyclops sees in this dust, he's been AOL instant messaged by Magic. Says, "Hello, Scott. Break you out." Like, I love that they're using like text.
Yes.
Speak.
So
like not full sentences.
So you think this is a magic thing because of the glyph? Because for whatever reason, I just thought these were metal shavings, and that somehow Magneto was doing this.
Oh, you know what?
But then they did do like a magic glyph at the beginning, so maybe it's like a combo of powers or something. I don't know. Like it's cool. I don't really care. I just when you said that, I was like, oh, maybe I didn't look at this the right way.
Good point. I think it's probably supposed to be both. I'm gonna blame it. It's now that I'm looking hard at it, I can see that it's probably supposed to be like metal shavings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making a big deal out of it. I don't pay attention to colors of things, since I can't tell them apart very often. So I train my brain not to consider it.
It's fine
when considering stuff. But it's probably both because it's definitely a weird geometric pattern that he draws.
Yeah. And then, and it looks like manipulated. And like we've seen the 1960s when Magneto, he likes to write in cursive, when he signs his name, and this looks like similar handwriting to me. So
yeah, he's old school.
Exactly.
Break you out. He goes, no, understood. And he says, not in dust. He gathers up his dust. He says, I have to be a prisoner, but I'm a political prisoner. I'm not going to let them turn me into a criminal.
Yep.
At this point,
which is not true. Because in the next issue, we're going to be turned into a criminal very quickly. So, I still continue to like this as far as just like real breezy. We're not lingering on too much. I mean, obviously the Cyclops story is the big catch here, but all of the little side stories and putting these things in places that can kick off new issues, I think is very good. Like this is all real deftly done. Mm-hmm. Like I'm enjoying this more than almost all of the tie-in stuff for AVX. So.
It's a great little like the place where it ends up with Cyclops continuing on the path feels really earned because of this miniseries.
Yes,
to me,
mm-hmm.
Like the extra little stuff like what was Namor up to? How does Hope get up with Cable and stuff? I'm a little bit less interested in because it's not character stuff. It's like putting pieces together. But all of the Wolverine and Cyclops stuff in this is really really good.
Yes,
I feel like this was what I was missing in terms of kind of rectifying their relationship, specifically the last issue.
Yeah.
Really, really good for that stuff. Good comic.
Yeah, this is really good. Yeah. If you like this podcast, you should rate and review it on Apple Podcasts and any other service that you find it on. You should check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. A lot of new stuff happening over there, and it's very, very cool. After all of the weird technical shenanigans, Gary, I just wanted to report back that I had to set my own personal feed up. And it was pretty easy. It was really no problem, and now it's a lot more convenient. Good. So nice. It's real easy for me to kind of pick and choose what I want and to listen to, which makes it easy because you guys release tons of fucking content over there.
It's a lot of stuff, and it's kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't. Some people don't like that we tried to make it easier, but that's we're doing our best. I'm glad that it worked out. I personally I also find it a little bit confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but it's because of the way that my dumb brain works. Like it's very rare that I customize anything that's technological. I'm much more like, I'm the water. I'll just figure out how to live with this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that's healthy, but that's my instinct.
Yes. Yeah.
you know, in these kind of things. But I also, you know, would do what it takes.
Yeah.
Especially if it meant supporting my boys.
Yeah. Or
like
listening
trying
to
support Duckfeed.
exclusive podcasts like Bonfireside Chat or Adaptation Decay or any Unflammable, like any number of podcasts.
Yeah, you've got something to announce as well, my friend. This is the first time we've recorded since you have launched a new venture.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Thank you, Gary. that was old news. That's last week, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, I got your back.
Yeah, Monster of the Week finished Supernatural. We finished all 327 episodes over 5 years. And
Listeners, can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
It's a lot of morose covers of old folk songs.
Dude, it's something, all right. Let me tell you. So Chris and I decided to start a new podcast called Still His Kingdom Keeps, which you can find at stillhiskingdomkeeps.cool and also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that. And it's covering the TV show Merlin, which is like a BBC show back from 2009, I think. And it's real good. It's kind of sweet and corny and dumb, but it's wizards and King Arthurs and swords and fairies and some real chuckle-worthy CGI, and then it gets really, really fucking cool and good. So it's fun. Come listen. Come hang out.
How many episodes is that, Jeremy?
67, I think. It's gonna be a little over a year's worth of podcasting. So.
Got you. I didn't think, because it was from the BBC, that it would be, you know, hundreds and hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to be surprised if you had signed yourself up for another like 350 episode hitch immediately afterwards.
Yeah, some people really wanted us to do, and they still do. They want us to do stuff like Buffy or X-Files or stuff like that. And I'm like, y'all just don't know. Y'all don't understand. Like, I can't.
We got to do a short form thing.
I need to do something short because my brain this was just too long.
if you ever pivoted to X-Files, I would watch that along with you guys and guest if whenever you'd have me. Okay. That'd be awesome.
It's something that I'd really like to do one day. I think it'd be really, really fun. Like there's huge swaths of that show that I just have not seen.
Same.
And it's been one of those things, either like I want to listen to a podcast with it or I want to do a podcast with it. So I just never get the motivation to watch it by myself because my brain is fucking broken. The internet has broken me.
If it's not content.
Yeah. What's the fucking point?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sickness.
Which is why you can find me at onlyfans.com/JGGreen.
Yes. /feet. That's a great show.
Yeah.
I love X-Files, and I love how disconnected it is.
Yeah.
Like the connections are really kind of judiciously applied. It's not like, a lot of times it's just like, what if a fucked up dude?
Yeah, that's it. Like that's the whole plot line sometimes.
In this town where there's a fucked up man.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
Absolutely. Merlin is real similar to that sometimes. Like they'll just like in one episode they'll have this like really touching bonding moment between Merlin and Arthur, and the next episode they'll just be like fighting again because there's a fucking like weird feral monster with the head of a griffin and a body of a lion or some shit. Like it's.
Yeah.
They just reset stuff and just go for it because it's fun, and it's nice to do that from time to time.
There's a hill giant about.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Monster of the Week shit.
Mm-hmm. I do too. That's why I named the podcast that.
Yeah, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the name of a book on X-Files as well.
Is it?
That I believe Slack member and friend of the network Zach Handlin worked on.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that. But I'm mutuals with Zach on Twitter.
You'll be hearing from his lawyer.
We talked. Right after we launched, the McElroys started their D&D campaign based on the Monster of the Week rule set.
The Monster of the Week game.
Yeah, and our notifications went like a little crazy for a little bit. We were like, oh, that's when we another funny story because we debuted like a trailer, like we made a little podcast song, and I make a trailer for it because it's just fun to do that kind of stuff. And the exact moment we were counting down to the YouTube premiere, and somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, The Boys season 3 trailer is here." And if you didn't know, Jensen Ackles, the main dude from Supernatural, is in The Boys season 3 this year, and it's the first big thing he's done since Supernatural. And I was like, "Really? This exact fucking second, Jensen? Like every single person in this chat would rather see Jensen do something than watch my bullshit."
Anything.
Yeah. It's really funny.
Bummer.
Yeah.
You got Horizon Zero Dawn.
I did.
Or whatever. Like the same way.
Gonna get salty about it on Twitter. because I'm racist. I'm just kidding. I don't really know anything about that.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks.
We'll be back next time with Consequences number 4.
Bye.